You can be seated. So, first of all, I would like to say good morning and welcome to all of the friends and family that have traveled near and far to pay tribute to the life of Ashaun Edward Jackson. We gather here today to honor and reflect upon the life of Ashaun and how he touched each and every one of us. We honor a life filled with joy, compassion, and creativeness. And we cherish the memories that we will carry within us for an eternity as we reflect upon Ashaun as a grandson, a son, a brother, a friend, and a loving relative. Ashaun's final act has come to a finale, but for us, those that love and cherish its memories, there's loss, grief, and pain. But there's also great joy as we remember the laughter and the uplifting moments that we shared with him. All of us have been impacted, perhaps in small ways, or perhaps in transformative ways. Simply stated, his life mattered. It is important for us to acknowledge and accept that our lives have changed with his passing. We are grieving. Life will not be the same, nor should it be. Let us open our heart and honor the impact Ashaun Edward Jackson have had on us, even though his life was brief, but it was joyous on this earth. And so, thank you for listening. We will have the first reading of the poem. Malik Wright, Alexander, and Kaylin Jackson, please. Just step through here.
The Next Place by Warren Hanson. The next place that I'll go will be peaceful and familiar as a sleepy summer day, and a sweet, untroubled mind. And yet it won't be anything like any place I've ever been or seen or even dreamed of, and the place I leave behind. I won't know where I'm going, and I won't know where I've been. As I tumble through the always, and I look back towards the wind. I'll glide beyond the rainbow, I will drift above the sky. I'll fly into the wonder without ever wondering why. I won't remember getting here, somehow I'll just arrive. But I'll know that I belong there, and I will feel much more alive than I have ever felt before. I will be absolutely free of the things that I held on to, that were holding on to me. The next place I'll go will be so quiet and so still.
That the whisper song of sweet belonging will rise up to fill the listening sky with joyous silence and with unheard harmonies of music made by one playing like a hush upon a breeze. There will be no room for darkness in that place of living light, where an ever-dawning morning pushes back the dying night. The very air will fill with brilliance as the brightly shining sun and the moon and 500,000 stars are married into one. The next place that I go won't really be a place at all. There won't be any seasons, winter, summer, spring, or fall. Nor a Monday, nor a Friday, nor December, nor July, and the seconds will be standing still while hours hurry by. I will not be a boy or a girl, a woman or a man. I'll simply be just simply me, no worse or better than. My skin will not be dark or light. I won't be fat or tall. The body I once lived in won't be part of me at all. I will finally be perfect.
I will be without flaw. I will never make one more mistake or break the smallest law. And the me that was impatient or angry or unkind will simply be a memory, the me that I left behind. I will travel empty-handed. There is no single thing I've collected in my life that I would ever want to bring, except the love of those who loved me, the warmth of those who cared, the happiness and memories and the magic that we shared. Though I will know the joy of solitude, I'll never be alone. I'll be embraced by all family and friends I've ever known. Although I may not see their faces, all our hearts will beat. As one, in the circle of the spirits, and the shine brighter than the sun. I will cherish all friendships. I was fortunate to find, and the love of all the laughter and the place I left behind. All these good things will go with me. They'll make my spirit glow, and the light will shine bright forever in the next place that I go. That's it.
Next, we will have reflection. Mr. Steve Grisbach and Jared Estrada.
I was principal at Flossmoor Hills Elementary School, where Ashaun, and Aubrey were students. I'm used to speaking in public, at graduations, parents' nights, and student performances, happy occasions. Today, however, is not one of those. So if you see me get weepy, it's because, like you, I loved Ashaun, and I love the Jackson family. And today, the grief is heavy. If you look up into the skies on a clear, dark, moonless night, the heavens sparkle with the light of uncountable stars. They twinkle at us, showering their light on our world and filling us with wonderment. Guardians of the heavens, jewels of the sky. There are stars here on earth all around us. We see them every day. Some burn brightly, and others leave their mark in cooler, gentler ways. These worldly stars touch our hearts, inspire love, and wow us with their kindness. Ashaun's star was so bright, we all chose to gather today with his family to mourn our loss and celebrate his life. We are friends and uncles and aunts and cousins and neighbors and teachers. All of us touched by the warmth of Ashaun's son. When Ashaun was in kindergarten, I remember a round, bashful boy with watchful eyes and a smile that lit up a room. He was popular with teachers and kind to his classmates. Many days I would greet the children in the morning as they lined up to enter the building, and Ashaun would greet me, wrapping his tiny arms around me in his embrace. To this day, I still don't know who needed that hug more. Almost 20 years ago, later, Ashaun and I reconnected. And you know what? He still liked to hug. Ashaun shared that his adult life was not always without challenges. But as we met over the next 12 months, I learned that he had an ambitious plan to recreate his place in the world as a Dungeons & Dragons master. Better known in that world as the Dapper Wombat, Ashaun had a vision of using D&D to bring children together and create community, using the game to fight isolation and promote healing. It takes courage to pursue a dream, something I admired in him. In recent months, Ashaun was getting a lot of traction. His vision was clear and his work focused. His camps at the Homewood Science Center were well subscribed. His online presence, which you saw earlier today, was growing. And Ashaun was proud that he had recently earned certification as a game therapist. When last we spoke less than a month ago, he proudly ticked off his accomplishments. The Dapper Wombat was on a roll. And Ashaun was full of confidence about the future. Stars are not meant to burn out so young, but yet they do. The light Ashaun brought to this world is in our hearts now and forever. May its warmth give us comfort in the sad days to come and help us to overcome the overwhelming sadness we feel at his passing. We love you, Ashaun. May you rest in peace in the heavens among the stars.
So I was one of the lucky few that Ashaun called a friend. He was for sure my best friend. And the way we met and just clicked, like you would have thought we were friends for like ages. Like we met at 18 and people, like I had met my fiance and she was like, how long have you been friends with him? But when we met, like the reason it felt that way is because you couldn't pry us away with a crowbar. We were everywhere together. Hey, we're gonna go to this. Oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go with Ashaun and let him know that we're gonna go there. But we met at 18. And if you know anything about 18-year-olds, they think they are grown, and yet they have so much left to learn. And I think that's why, like, I don't just say he's my best friend, I say he's a brother to me, because we were adults technically, but we grew up together, we still learned about the world together. Like, we laughed together, we hung out, ate together, everything. We cried together. Like if something bad happened to the other one, we were there for each other just every step of the way. And I just think about all the laughs and like the loving memories and how caring, but how fair Ashaun was. Like he was very fair. He was generous, but he was fair. One time my car broke down and I was like $200 short of fixing it. And Ashaun, without a second thought, lent me those $200. But he also made sure that I understood I had to pay him $200 back. It was a hug as I'm leaving from hanging out with him and be like, hey, don't forget, you still owe me another $150. But that's how I'll always remember. I'll remember him as a fair, loving individual, and I will remember him as not just my best friend, not the man who was supposed to be my best man at my wedding, because he is the best man that I've known, but as my brother. That is how I will remember him forever in my heart. And I hope you all have loving memories just like I do of him.
Okay, next we have a musical selection by Jalen White, and it's called Think of Me.
Testing. This song was sung by Ashaun when he did a play for the Phantom of the Opera. So we're singing this one for him. It's called Think of Me. Think of me fondly when we said goodbye. Remember me once in a while, please promise me you'll try. When you find that once again you long to take your heart back and be free, if you ever find a moment, spare a thought for me. We never said our love was evergreen or as unchanging as the sea. But if you can still remember, stop and think of me. Think of all the things we've shared and seen. Don't think about the way we have been. Think of me waking silent and resigned. Imagine me trying too hard to put you from my mind. Recall those days, look back on all those times. Think of the things we'll never do, and there'll never be a day where I won't think of you. Flowers fade, the fruits of summer fade. They have their season, so do we. But please promise me that sometimes you will think. Oh, 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 oh,
Next, we have the reading of the second poem, Jessica Allen and Linnea Wilborn.
This poem is called Some Friends Are Forever. Sometimes in life, you find a special friend, someone who changes your life by being a part of it. Sometimes in life, you find a special friend, someone who makes you laugh until you can't stop, someone who makes you believe that there is really good in the world, someone who convinces you that there is an unlocked door just waiting for you to open it. This is forever friendship. When you're down and the world seems dark and empty, your forever friend lifts you up in spirit and makes that dark and empty world suddenly seems bright and full. Your forever friend gets you through the hard times, the sad times, and the confused times. If you turn and walk away, your forever friend follows. If you lose your way, your forever friend guides you. and cheers you on. Your forever friend holds your hand and tells you that everything is going to be okay. If you find such a friend, you feel happy and complete because you need not to worry. You have a forever friend for life, and forever has no end.
I am reading When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed, they existed. We can be and be better, for they existed.
Next on, we have another reflection by Kamara Wade, Auntie Gwen, and Auntie Lachelle.
All right. So if I talked about everything that Ashaun meant to me and everything that he did for me, we would be here all day. So I just want to say, just like Jared said, it is truly a privilege to be his friend. I knew him in high school, but truly, we didn't truly bond until college. When I went to Eastern Illinois University, I didn't know anybody. And he was the only familiar face that I had. And, like he is, he's full of energy and, gave me a big smile and said, "Oh my God, Kamaria, it's so good to see you." So immediately, we just stuck together like glue, because we went to a program, before we got into the college. So we spent the whole summer before we actually started our semester. So it was already just my first college friend, and now he was my friend all the way up until the end. And I could think about just how he would cook for me, take me places, drive me, and just introduce me to so many things. Like everyone's talking about, his success with Dungeons and Dragons. I remember being there with David and Jared and Morgan doing those first few games. I just truly remember everything he talked about, what he wanted to do with his career, with his friends, planning trips. He never stopped having that passion, that drive to just be close with us, even when, everything has happened that could be stressful and, we don't see each other as much. He's always the first one to text, "Good morning, what do you guys want to do next week?" He was just so consistent, so warm, and I hate to say that I just truly didn't think that was gonna end. So, with Ashaun Jackson, I just want to say you are one of the greatest friends I've ever had in my life, and it will just truly not feel the same not having you here. But I do have memories, I have texts, I have pictures, I have videos. I have a lifelong amount of memories. of you. Thank you.
On April 12th, 1995, I received a call that the twins was born. I was so excited to be an auntie again. When I got a chance to see Ashaun for the first time, he was so adorable. His chubby face, full head of hair, and a grin that lit up the room. Growing up, Ashaun tried a lot of activities that his parents forced him to do. Some of them were soccer, tennis, foreign language, the arts, which he loved, as well as martial arts and many more. Because he was a smart kid, I knew he would excel in whatever he chose to pursue in life. One thing I knew, because I'm the best auntie in the whole wide world, he was great at his talent for acting and his ability to get into character, but he enhanced it with his own charm. The song that you just heard, he did a kids' play, and the audience was so ecstatic, he added his own little thing by throwing the hat out in the audience, and they were reaching out for his hat like he was a celebrity. So, yes. Despite having an engineering degree, he was very passionate about his Dungeons and Dragons, which was called D&D, which gave him the opportunity to use his charisma and his creativity he was gifted at. With his D&D, he instructed children on online classes and classes at the Science Center in Homewood. But he also was developing his podcast. And as you can see, his name was Dapper Waback, and his theme was Dapper Waback Production. I was thrilled every time I heard him teach because I know how enthusiastic he was about his D&D. But not only that, he did it so effortlessly. The kids loved him, and he even took extra time to help them for the next session. He was a very good encourager. Ashaun also had talent as an auctioneer for his mother's non-for-profit, Center Food for Equity and Medicine. People were so astonished by his talent once the auction got underway that they bid a respectable amount to the foundation in support of a worthy cause. Ashaun, my pumpkin, you will be missed by so many people. But it's time for you to rest and spend eternity with the Lord. I am hurting, truly hurting, but Eric, Malik, and I will always cherish the great time we spent together.
Ann, Aubrey, Ryan, my dear little Aisha, to the family and friends that are gathered, I give honor to God for the soul who is a kind, blessed man. And I cannot stand in here without saying that he was a gift that I saw my sister struggle with in a pregnancy because she couldn't be still. And so I know that that's what he represented. And I will never take that away from him for being a blessing I ran across something that puts it all together. And I think the majority of our time with Aisha and Ashaun, we were either at the beach or we were at my kitchen table eating. And if you knew Sean and Aisha, they are food connoisseurs. And they would go and they say, hey, we're gonna test 5 cupcakes today, and did you try this? And they called, they said, I cooked this. I said, what is that? And that's who they were. And Ann and Aubrey right there just indulging them. And so I'm like, okay, but we ate a lot. And around food is fellowship. And we gave thanks for family, and we gave thanks for the blessings. My mother is not here, his grandmother. But I know she would be moved and cherished because she loved him so. To the point that every time you went to the bathroom in our house, we saw Aisha and Ashaun. Because they were everywhere in these pictures. And so I'm grateful again to God to have this opportunity to see the community that has surrounded the family. And so I want to read you something from someone that many respect, which is Desmond Tutu. And he says that a person is a person through other persons. You got that, as the pastor might say. None of us come into the world fully formed. We would not know how to think or walk or speak or behave as human beings. We need other human beings in order to be human. I am, Sean was, because other people are. A person is entitled to a stable community life. And the first of these is the community of family. So I thank you for giving him the stability, the love, the support, that regardless of how long he walked this earth, he was the best version of himself. And I am grateful for that blessing. So thank you.
Next, we're going to have Words of Comfort by Rhonda White.
Good afternoon, good people. I've done this before, but this is hard. So I'm gonna need all your energy, all your prayers, everything you got to throw at me so I can get through it, okay? I know you all are struggling, probably more than I am, but this one's hard. Today, we gather to acknowledge the life and the transition of Ashaun Edward Jackson. We find ourselves enveloped in a trench of sadness. And if any of you are like me, can we just admit that it's been hard to breathe for the past 11 days? The guilt alone of my ability to stand here in this place, and he is not, is painfully breathtaking. But in that grief, we also should find ourselves in a warmth of memories that Ashaun gifted us with. He was a tender soul, a beacon of kindness, a devoted advocate of the simple yet profound belief, be kind. If you don't get anything else from this celebration of life, please understand and know that the legacy of Ashaun's life is be kind. It's hard to imagine a fresh 27-year-old that they would have a legacy. I've been toying with the idea of legacy for a while now, but I'm 55.
So my perspective, I know I don't look 55, but I'm 55. And my legacy, and the idea of legacy, I realize now that my perspective on legacy has changed. I realize that no matter how much time I have in front of me, it's shorter than the time that's behind me. The definition of legacy is something transmitted by or received from an ancestor or a predecessor of the past. Now we know legacy that people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, and Rosa Parks left. Those people were great and their legacies were great. But the bigger question today is, what's your legacy? What's my legacy? And what will people remember about us when they're doing the very thing that we're doing for Ashaun today? It's hard to think of legacy when you think of a man who wasn't done living yet, but I remind you as you mourn his loss that we need to gain an appreciation of the legacy of his life. No matter how short it was, the legacy of his life was be kind. In a world sometimes defined only by its complexities, evils, and conflicts, Ashaun chose a different path. He lived by the mantra of compassion, understanding, and empathy. His heart was a vast landscape of generosity, always ready to extend a hand, offer a listening ear, or share a comforting smile. Like I said, the legacy of his life is be kind. For those of you who knew him intimately, like his twin sister Aisha, his devoted parents, and his brother, Ashaun was more than just a kind-hearted soul. He was a beacon of light in times of darkness and a steadfast companion in the trials and tribulations of life. And Aisha, I'm the only child, baby. So I don't know the love of a sibling other than people like your mom in my life. And that's a good thing. But you have something that's very special that few of us will ever experience. Something only that twins understand. Your bond with Ashaun, forged from the womb, transcended the ordinary. It was a bond woven with threads of love, understanding, and unwavering support. And I know it's got to feel like your life's puzzles are falling apart right now, and something is missing, and my heart breaks for you and your family. But Aisha, as the days of separation between you and Ashaun grow, my hope is that you learn to redefine your relationship with your twin, that you find strength in what he's already told you, that you find in the gifts, that you find him in the gifts that he's already given you, and in the tokens of his life as you run into the things that you are going to encounter on the journey that you're on. I promise you will find him. You will find him blowing in the wind. You will find him in the lyrics of a song. You will find him in something someone says or a look that someone gives. His stamp will forever be with you. To all the Jacksons, there's purpose in your pain. It's hard to find right now, but you will. Remember, the legacy of his life is be kind. Now, let's talk about what being kind means for a minute. Mentalhealth.org defines kindness as choosing to do something that helps others or yourself. It is something motivated by genuine warm feelings. Kindness or doing good often means putting other people's needs before your own. It could be giving somebody a seat on a bus or making someone a cup of coffee. Now, that might sound simple in and of itself, but that is far from the truth. I'm sure we can agree that the definition is simple enough, but the ability to execute it, that's a whole nother thing. How you accept the definition and how you manifest the definition, very different things. It takes a lot to be kind in times like this, especially when the whole world is just doing them. Our selfishness and our pride cause us to neglect the very essence of what being kind means. Maybe let's talk about what kindness is not, so that we can understand the legacy of his life. Being kind is not forsaking self for the well-being of others. You cannot be good to anybody else unless you're good to yourself. Start today with being kind to yourself. I promise you, it will allow you to be more kind to others. Being kind is not living with regret. Don't put off today what you can do today. That person you haven't talked to or you have not forgiven, that project you have not done, have not invested in, that decision that you're vacillating on, don't let it become regret because you wait too long. Our gathering today reminds us that that is not true. Refusing to accept someone else's path because it does not look like yours is not being kind. You don't have to agree with a person to be kind to them. Agreeing to disagree should be the golden rule, but it's not. Being kind is also not being a people pleaser. Listen, y'all, some folks are just not going to like you. No matter what you do, stop trying. Don't try to make nonsense make sense. I'm talking to myself. I gotta say it one more time. Don't try to make nonsense make sense. That's their problem. It's their loss. You are more valuable than that, and you deserve better. Stop ruining a good night's sleep over it. There are other people in the world to love. And lastly, being kind is not ignoring that still small voice within you. Learn to trust that voice, even when it doesn't make sense. Trust that voice. So I don't know if being kind is easy for you, but I can't do it alone. And my hope is that through this tragedy that brought us here today, that you are able to find your own way to be kind and maximize on that. Now, back to the Dapper Wombat. Ashaun's passion for Dungeons and Dragons wasn't just about escapism or adventure. It was a reflection of his innate spirit of leadership, camaraderie, and teamwork. In those imaginary realms, he found solace, but most importantly, he found a connection that he mirrored in the depth of his relationships in his real world. Even in gaming, the legacy of his life is be kind. But what truly sets Ashaun apart is his selfishness. Despite battling his own illness, he didn't hesitate to extend a helping hand to those who needed it most. His empathy knew no bounds. He saw the pain in others and sought to alleviate it, even when his own burdens weighed heavily upon him. Remember, if you are not feeling your best, the legacy of his life is be kind. And who could forget Sean's love for dancing? I'm trying to get it. I was trying to get it. I've been trying to get it. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. I tried. I really tried. His feet moved with a grace that mirrored the grace of his soul. In each step and in each sway, he radiated joy, spreading it like a wildfire to all those who are around him. Remember, in your times of joy, the legacy of his life is be kind. In Ashaun's passing, we are reminded of the fragility of life, but also of its beauty. He may have departed from this world prematurely, but the legacy of kindness, compassion, and love will continue to live on in each of us. Let us honor his memory, not with tears of sorrow, but with smiles of gratitude of having been blessed with his presence in our lives. The legacy of his life is be kind. As we say our farewells to Ashaun, let us carry forward his legacy. Let us strive to be kinder, more compassionate, more understanding, not just to those who we love, but to everyone we encounter. For in doing so, we honor the essence of who Ashaun was and the values he held dear. Be kind, okay? Can we just be kind? It's been said before, and it's true, that we all have a start date and an end date. But it's really that dash in between those two dates that matters. And while we all can agree that Ashaun's dash was not long enough and that he wanted his dash to be longer, and we did too, his dash is complete now. And so guess what? We owe him. We owe him part of our dash. His dash continues on in our fight for justice, in our responsibility to equity, in our acknowledgement of diversity, and in our ability to include others who do not look like, sound like, believe like, identify like, or love like we do. Rest in peace, Dapper Wombat. Your light may have dimmed in this world, but it will forever shine brightly in our hearts. And lastly, always remember the legacy of his life. Can we say it together? Be kind. Thank you very much.
Our next musical selection is by Jalen White, and it's Over the Rainbow.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Oh, when trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dare to, oh why can't I? Oh, someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Oh, when trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, that you dare to. Why, oh why can't I? Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, why, oh why can't ooh, ooh,
The next will be a reading of the resolution by Edie Dobaz. We do have, and the family want to acknowledge, several other resolutions that was provided. One from the Imans community by Reverend Dr. Elise Barrymore. The Progressive Church of God in Christ, to Sisters of Hope and Support Group provided one as well. And the last one that we have here, besides for the one that's going to be read, is Christ Temple Baptist Church, an expression of sympathy for the family of Brother Ashaun Jackson. Thank you for those resolutions.
Resolution honoring the memory of Ashaun Jackson. Whereas Ashaun Jackson, a cherished member of the Homewood Science Center family, served as a dedicated facilitator, passionately contributing to the growth and development of youth within our community. And whereas Ashaun was instrumental in embodying the values and mission of Homewood Science Center, consistently demonstrating unwavering commitment, empathy, and compassion towards the young people, under his guidance. And whereas Ashaun left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of those he led, fostering an environment of learning, creativity, imagination, and inclusivity, thereby enriching the lives of all who had the privilege of knowing him. And whereas the unexpected passing of Ashaun has deeply saddened the Homewood Science Center community, leaving a void that can never be filled, but also serving as a poignant reminder of the profound impact he made during his tenure with us. And whereas it is fitting and appropriate for the Board of Homewood Science Center to formally recognize and commemorate the invaluable contributions and legacy of Ashaun within our organization. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Homewood Science Center hereby expresses the deepest condolences to the family, friends, students, and colleagues of Ashaun, acknowledging the immeasurable loss suffered by all who knew him. Further resolved that the Homewood Science Center honors the memory of Ashaun Jackson by dedicating a memorial plaque in his honor to be displayed in the STEAM studio at Homewood Science Center, ensuring that his legacy, his spirit and legacy endure as a source of inspiration for future generations of youth and facilitators. We love you, Ashaun.
Now we will have comments from his family, his brother and sister, Aisha and Aubrey.
Before I go into what I tried to scrawl, first thing I want to say is I look out at everybody, that the church is packed, there are people in the overflow. The theme of community has come up again and again throughout all the things, all of the phases of his life, everything that everybody's remarked about. And there's no greater testament to that than this. And that doesn't even count those people who are out there in the World Wide Web, on the internet. It is amazing and truly gratifying that this community, and that has come up over and over again, it's also not lost on me that that is the name of the church that we are here today. And so I certainly want to thank them for hosting this and for all that they have done for Ann and her not-for-profit. My son took those lessons and found his way to apply them. But first, then there came a day like no other that my sister described, that Ashaun and his sister came into our lives. Everybody's already done a wonderful job of remarking about how he was a unique personality. And all of those things are true. But I've got to put a different spin on this. When I first struggled with everything that happened, I've, got an outpouring from everybody. Everybody's, come to us and say, whatever, what can we do? What can we do? We got a lot of food. Probably more food we can eat, but we appreciate it. But everybody's been saying, what can we do? And I've remarked how angry I have been. I've had difficulty sleeping. I've told everybody who has talked to me that I just can't process this. So I was talking to one of the wisest people I know, who is really my big sister. Hi, read the book. And she pointed me to, she's done a book, a little pamphlet of, collection of sayings, and I kind of went through them to help me prepare for this. And I found a couple that I thought would help, so here we go. My son, like me, anybody who knows me, I am probably the quietest of my siblings. I do not have the gift of gab. I am more of an introverted person. I live in my head a lot. But, I am a unabashed comic book science nerd. And my son, I think he took on some of that. He and I, after a Marvel movie, we, recite, oh, this didn't happen in the book, and this didn't. And, he was really into that. one of the things that I think that his foray into D&D did for him, and others have said this before I got up here, is allowed him to do this thing, this overarching thing that has been here today in community. As I listened to the wisest person who I know, and I went to the book that she put together, I was just looking for something to use here, and I found this thing. I found this quote by this guy. And again, other people have remarked this, but the quote is, "Discover your uniqueness and learn to exploit it in the service of others." I said, okay. That embodied my son's spirit. As his mom will attest, we were a little concerned about, him and, his passion for this. Not because he wanted to play, but because we knew that at the end of the day, you got to pay the bills. I'm just going to be honest. As a parent, you can laugh, but if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. And, we were willing to, to go along with it. But, we were a little concerned. But as has been remarked here, and we're so sorry he didn't realize this promise, but he was able to use this community that he built to discover his uniqueness and learn to exploit it in the service of others. Because, as my sister said, at the Science Center or online, I've heard some of the, when he was at the house, I could hear they could play D&D all day. And it was a passion, but it was a talent. And he learned to exploit that talent and that passion in the service of others. These children that he worked with at the Science Center, they loved him. The fact that he could do that, I consider to be amazing. And I think some of that came from and I have to add an addendum to what Rhonda said. Sure, be kind was his thing, but I think Jared kind of hit it too. He would, fair play was his thing. And that is a reference to a superhero that only maybe one person in this room may get. Ashaun believed in fair play. Rhonda captured he did not cotton tolerate or was not interested in people who could not see people for just being people, for being human. As we celebrate his life here, and we honor his legacy like humans have done throughout whatever religion, whatever, humans have wanted to be remembered, and humans have strove to remember those who they have lost through these kinds of gatherings, whether they're religious, secular, or in somebody's backyard. It didn't matter. We have a need to come together as a community to remember those of us who are no longer with us. And again, as you all are a testament to this, the fact that you are here. So I'm going to do something a little different because I know Rosie's going to be kicking me off here pretty soon because I'm going over time. Typically, when we have these gatherings, and rightfully, we say good things about the person, and we mean them. They are heartfelt. I have no doubt about that. Everyone who has come up here has said wonderful things about Ashaun. But they've also pointed out the things that he was passionate about, things that he really tried to strive to make his life mean. So what I'm going to do, for everyone who is thinking, how can I help the family? Everyone who's come to me and said, how can I help you? I'm going to say, vote for fairness. I am going to say that you vote for fairness and take 10 people with you and inspire them to take 10 people with them. If you really want to honor my son, if you want to help me and stop me from the depths of my despair, where I feel like I've got to dress like a bat at night and go out and do things in his honor, only a few people might get that. I am conscripting you to my Justice League. All of you out there in TV land, I know it ain't TV land, but all of you, if you want to truly help us, vote for fairness. My son believed in fair play. He believed in justice. You are all, because you came here and because you asked, you are all conscripted to my Justice League. So, I expect, if you ask me what you can do, that's all I ask. That's all I want, because that honors what he believed in. We can take action. I am a guy because of, I'm a science nerd. Now, I inundate my nephew with these little different science things, and I have to solve for X. I have to. And the fact that there is so much unfairness and injustice in the world, I can't resolve that. And this tragedy, it just puts an exclamation point on it. So if you want to help me not have to dress up like a bat at night, you are in my Justice League. And lastly, I will say that as a science nerd, the reason why I know this is possible, there is a saying by Martin Luther King that says the moral arc of the universe bends toward justice. And lately, I've been having trouble with that because I can't see justice here or justice out there. But what I do know, and I tried to teach my nephew this during the eclipse, that massive bodies bend light. From just a scientific principle. And all of you have proof of the general theory of relativity in your pocket, because if you take out your cell phone, that's why your cell phone works. What I'm saying to you, and it is overly nerdish, but I'm a nerd. I understand that. And as you laugh, the nerds are at home laughing too, because every one of you got one of these. But I say that to say this. My call to you in my Justice League allows us to build that community. When stars are built, they're just individual particles of hydrogen atoms that coalesce into a star that builds a gravitating body, a large body that has the ability to bend light. In order for the moral trajectory of the universe to bend toward morality, you know what I'm saying, to bend toward justice, it is up to us. All of you individuals out there, together in a community, which has been the theme and the watchword of this presentation and all of the others, you can make that happen. Individual particles come together and they bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice. Avengers Assemble. Thank you.
I often tell people Ashaun is the best person I know. He was the kid at soccer who would pick dandelions off the field. He got lost at the Taste of Chicago way too many times to count. And he often found himself in his own world. Ashaun was authentically himself. He learned how to twirl his mustache with wax like a supervillain because he thought it was cool. But most importantly, he was my twin. He was my constant companion, my support, my backup. And I don't know how we're supposed to get through this without him. In elementary school, we would wear snow pants to school when it was cold. During his first year at Parker Junior High, Ashaun decided that he was going to wear snow pants. He was going to wear snow pants, which no one else did anymore. And because he couldn't get out of them in time for class, he went the whole day. In his snow pants. Undeterred, he did this all week. I distinctly remember him playing dodgeball indoors with the snow pants on and making noises. Then, as of now, all I could do was laugh. Ashaun was always authentically him. He brought the spirit into his role-playing games like D&D, and he especially brought his authenticity to work. His kiddos really enjoyed playing D&D with him because of his creativity and imagination. He inspired a sense of adventure in them and allowed them to shape new worlds and do things that they didn't previously think were possible. Imagining new worlds meant building community was possible. Ashaun had many interests, and within all of them, he found and built community. And those communities are legacies he leaves behind. At Eastern, he and his friends honed their D&D skills with Ashaun at the helm, eventually creating a podcast together that became a labor of love. As he built new worlds, he brought his friends along with him, strengthening their bond. I could tell you more stories about him, like his lifelong love of mustard, how he would put it on everything, his Scooby-Doo stuffed animal that would be present for every episode of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? But do not get him started on Velma. I could tell you about the time he sprinted with me to the finish line of my regional cross-country competition, but none of those things bring him back. So what do I do? Taking clues from Ashaun has taught me I can lean on my community that is built around me and to get through this. When I don't want to play soccer, I can pick dandelions on the sidelines, and most importantly, I can take it one breath at a time and live my life as authentically as he did. Thank you.
Just a reminder before I bring up Pastor Julie for the reflection. The repast will be at Aurelio's, so just make certain you're aware of that. Thank you.
So what is there left to say? Well, one thing is I'm so grateful that you have made this house your home. You call it our house, and you're thankful that we let you into our house. It's not our house, Anne. It's God's house. And everyone is welcome here. And no matter what your beliefs are, you have felt something light up in your mind today. You have felt some part of your heart open. You have laughed. Asha, you're funny. You have cried. And as those things open, what is flowing through us is love. We are but a blip on the timeline of humanity. Humanity is but a speck in the existence of the universe, and that brevity feels even more poignant when a life like Ashaun's ends. And so we are humbled to have had this time at all, to have had Ashaun at all, to have shared some portion of his 1,000+ days as his siblings, his parents, his friends. In the end, what lasts? What endures? In the Christian tradition, 1 Corinthians 13 says one thing lasts: love. Love never ends. The love that fueled Ashaun's life through you, that gave him shelter, encouragement, and care, that has endured so much, has been patient and kind, selfless and servant-hearted, that love never ends. The love between you and Ashaun that has faced the truth of human frailty with both realism and hope, that love never ends. The love among this community that has borne all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. That love never ends. So when I described a life like Ashaun's as ending, that's only partially true. Could it be that his existence came from love, was sustained by love, and now has been reabsorbed into love? Call it an eternal river. Call it a universal energy. Call it God. The New Testament says God exists as love. The being of God is the being of love. So love, capital L, embodied itself in the form of Ashaun and in the betweenness of all of your relationships. That love became young again and learned to be uniquely Ashaun, impacting and changing you as he lived, impacting and seeing other kids in their uniqueness. drawing them up into their fullness. And in Ashaun, even growing and maturing, you were worried, but he did it. He grew and he matured to the point where Ashaun was able to value and treasure the uniqueness even of his own full self. If love never ends, then Ashaun lives on in that love, in the honoring of it, in the telling of his story. Ashaun lives on in you and in all the ways you will go from this place, receivers of the gift of Ashaun-shaped love, then giving it in your own story through the shape of your own life going forward. So let's just take a moment of silence and breathe in as receivers of love and breathe out as givers of love. In this flow, we are endlessly one with love, one with God, one with each other, one with Ashaun. May he rest in love and rest in peace. Amen. From the family, I offer another huge thanks for being here today. They will be accompanying Ashaun's body to its final resting place. And you are welcome to greet them and shower them with stories, comfort, and community at Aurelio's at 2:15, but 3:15. And first we'll let them recess together. Friends, go in peace to live the love you can in the days you are given. Amen. Amen. Sure.
Family and friends, if I can have your attention, I'm just going to make a few announcements and instructions. At this time, we're going to get ready to begin our procession to the cemetery for final interment. The cemetery we'll be going to is a Substance Cemetery located at 19500 South Cottage Grove. It's about a 15-20-minute drive from this location. For those who will be at a procession with us, I ask that you do receive a sticker from one of the directors. I ask that you place it in your passenger window. Remember to turn on your headlights and emergency flashers. The line will be forming eastbound on Hutchinson Street. And at this time, I'm going to ask if we can have about at least 12 flower ladies or men to assist us with the flowers, preferably non-family members at this time. And if you are a designated pallbearer, I'm going to ask that you meet us in the lobby by the steps as well, too, outside.
Do you want the flower people to come forward right now?
Yeah, they can come now.
Before the family leaves?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Can we get just a few more people to come forward for flowers?
way up high, and the dreams that you dream of
The card is rolling.
once
There you
in
go.
a lullaby.
I'll take one of those, please. It's brown. I'll pull up right to this.